Well, hello everyone. Here we are for another episode of Positively Outrageous Service. Fist bump, Michael.
Social distancing
here. And today our theme, I'm going to take this off. Our theme is going to be about how crisis breeds creativity. I'm Andrew Sabo.
And I'm Michael Hoffman, and welcome to the COVID headquarters of Positively Outrageous Service.
We are socially distancing?
A little bit. We're not 6 feet.
Well, shoulder to shoulder, we're about 4.5 feet.
Shoulder to shoulder. No touching.
Yes,
absolutely
we
no
wanted
touching.
to be both on the screen at the same time.
How are y'all holding up? Holy cow. Talk about a crisis moment. It has been absolutely crazy. I think crazy is the word of the day.
Well, crazy.
Or one of the words.
Crisis breeds craziness and creativity.
Yeah, crisis does breed creativity because it does. It is a little bit of crazy. I don't know about you guys, but it's really gone way past what everybody had even thought of or prepared for. And I think one of the things that I really like about this particular shenanigans that are going on, I don't know if you can use the word shenanigans with a pandemic. In fact, I think it's inappropriate. But this crisis and how people are reacting to it is the creativity that comes out of crisis. I like how you say that. The creativity breeds creativity.
Yes.
Or crisis breeds creativity.
So that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to actually spotlight 6 or 7 companies and individuals that are doing some marvelous creative things, and hopefully to spur your creativity and what you can do differently, because we have to survive in this era, and resilience is paramount. And part of resilience is you got to pivot, you got to do something different. You can't keep doing the same thing.
I know in my family we've been talking a lot about what do we do? How do we react to this? I mean, we've been quarantined in our homes. We've been, we can't go to work. Is there going to be work? All the things that have sort of risen to our consciousness that we've never had to deal with before have been absolutely insane. And I know that in my household, especially with the family members in my household, we've been having lots of talks about what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And I really believe that this is the time for heroes. This is the time when we will see our character really rise. How we respond to this unknown, it really shows a lot about who we are as people, who we are as organizations, who we are as a team, as a group. And so we wanted to bring some focus to some things that we have proposed and we know has influence in strong organizations by being positively outrageous. And that is the 3 principles that our book is based upon, that our whole philosophy is based upon, is how do you create love in the workplace? How do you create love in your family? How do you create those interactions? Absolutely, love in your neighborhoods. And they're built on three premises, three promises, if you will, or principles that really have an influence on being positively outrageous. And they are?
The first is random and unexpected.
Out of proportion to the circumstances.
And 3, very important, have fun.
Yeah. These 3 things we find in organizations that really provide those wow experiences that have people walking away going, this is why I shop here.
Yes.
This is why my family is tight. This is why our team works. You can put your hands around it. And these 3 principles we are starting to see all over the place. And I know you are too. But we wanted to bring focus to it.
Yes. So we call it, we're going to call this the POS Spotlight.
Yeah.
And we'll spotlight 6 or 7 examples of this.
Yeah.
And let's start with the first one. Actually, it was kind of a fun thing. It was very simple. And my wife and I are doing a lot of walking now. My pool is closed. My yoga studio is closed. My gym is closed.
How do you survive?
How do I survive? Yeah. And because I'm a workout fanatic, those of you who know me. And so I'm doing a lot of walking now. A little bit of cycling here and there and some running. But my wife and I, but she needs to get out too. So we're doing a lot of walking. And one Saturday we were walking around the lake that's close by us. And there's a number of restaurants on the other side of the lake. And my wife, she plays a lot of tennis. Can't play any tennis right now. But anyway, her knees were bothering her, and she said, honey, I've got to just take a break. We're about halfway through the walk, and there's some restaurants there, and they have some outdoor seating, and I'm just going to stop by here. So we stopped by. The place is called Grimaldi's Pizza, and they have
Grimaldi.
Yes, and they have great pizza, by the way. And about half of the restaurants there are doing takeout, so they're still open. They pivoted, and they're doing some creative things there. But we stopped there and I thought, it's kind of a warm day and it's a Saturday. Hey, how about if we have a nice glass of wine, just like we did a year ago when we were in Italy? And of course, I'm glad we're not in Italy this year. But so I go to the takeout window, and because now in Texas, they're actually doing takeout alcohol too. So I asked them for a couple of glasses of wine. They said, I'm sorry, we can't do glasses of wine. We have to do a full bottle. And I really didn't want to walk back to the house with a half-empty bottle. And it's like, okay. Well, they said, well, we can do, how about bottled beer? And I thought, oh, that's a good idea. And then they showed me the beer list, and they've got some good beers. Share it with my wife. She picks one. I pick a different one. Go back to the window. And then I realized, wait a minute, honey, I don't have my wallet. We're just out for a walk. We weren't planning on this. Honey, do you have your wallet? No, she doesn't have a wallet. I'm sorry, I can't order this. Go sit down with her. And then she said, what about Apple Pay? I've got my phone with me. Oh, okay. I go up to the window and I said, do you accept Apple Pay? And they said, no, sorry, we don't. There were two people there behind the bar there, behind the window. And one of them said, hey, why don't you just Venmo me the money and I'll pay for it? That was positively outrageous. And it's like, so we were able to get our 2 beers on a hot day there, and all because somebody got creative and said, there is a way we can still serve these customers. I mean, have you ever heard that a waiter would actually pay for your bill while you Venmo them the money? That's brilliant.
It's a lovely world that we live in.
Yeah.
So
that's definitely an example of what?
Random and unexpected.
Yeah, totally
didn't see that coming. Yeah,
and it was
not
kind of
see
fun
that.
too.
Yeah.
It was playful and it was amazing. And I totally didn't see that coming.
So to the employee at Rinaldi's Pizza,
Grimaldi's, yes.
Grimaldi's Pizza in Las Colinas, Texas, we salute you.
Yes.
Positively outrageous service. Spotlight. Congratulations. That's really good. Yeah, I've got one too, and actually, it's kind of around the same approach. We are doing a lot of walking. People are out and about, and I know that I don't know where you live, but in our area, they're concerned that people are not doing social distancing properly and things like that, which I totally get. But we're out and about, and we're in the parks, and we're walking on a daily basis. And I wanted to bring Spotlight to somebody that I think is fun, tremendously fun, and I really appreciate it because it's not just one. So it's a nameless spotlight, but it's for people that are taking the opportunity to reach out and constantly bring joy to the people in their area. And I'm talking about the sidewalk chalk artists that you see all over the place. We get them all over. It's not just in one park.
Really?
We've been to, because we're trying to get out and mix it up a little bit. So in our neighborhood, in the park that's near us, in a park that we drive to, these sidewalk chalk artists are phenomenal, and they're just lovely with the messages of hope, with the drawings that are fun. One of my favorites was a hopscotch that was in the middle of the path. They actually provided rocks on a pile with a little note that said, "Take the time to have a little fun with the hopscotch." I really like that, and it was noticeable. Yes. So for those people that are providing the joy out in their neighborhoods by doing sidewalk chalk art, it is noticed. And to you, we say that is fun and involving. And so we give you the positively outrageous spotlight. Salute.
Indeed.
That's mine.
Well, I've got another one. And this is actually a friend of mine. He's a pastor, Troy Brewer, Open Door Experience Church down in Burleson, Texas. And of course, a lot of churches are now streaming their services. Now, they've been doing this for a number of years, so they've already got it on YouTube and their website and live stream and Facebook and so forth. So that wasn't an issue. They already had a fantastic technical setup to do that. But they've elevated some things. And now they were also, for every 2 weeks, every second Saturday, they also had a food bank there in that area, and serving about 1,000 people every 2 weeks.
Wow.
Phenomenal.
Wow, that's amazing.
Well, what they did on Palm Sunday and Easter Sunday, they upped it, and they actually did it at the church. So, in the church parking lot, because you can't go into the church, right? So in the church parking lot, and their tribe is phenomenal. The Open Door Experience Tribe, I got to salute you guys. There was probably 50, 60 people out there. We're all spread out, of course. And they actually had 2 lines of cars. And in the last 2 weeks, they fed over 5,000 people. Over 5,000 people were fed. And that's not all. They also have a drive-through prayer tent. So while they're doing their services, they have 3 services on Sunday, and they do one on Wednesday. They actually, during the service time, you can drive up to the church. There's a drive-through prayer. You can be prayed for. There were several hundred people were prayed for. I was actually down there on Easter Sunday, and they're being prayed for. And they also have a hotline, a 24-hour manned hotline, toll-free number where people can call in with their needs. So they're not just feeding people on the Sundays. They're actually going out and helping people who are, isolated. They've got, some people are even afraid to go to the pharmacy and pick up their meds. So they'll go out, pick up the meds for that person. And because their service is streamed live, guess what? It's going all over the country. And so people are calling in, well, I don't live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but I'm in Pennsylvania. And so this lady, actually, she had a need, and it was actually her air conditioning had broken down. Well, they contacted a church in the Pennsylvania area near to this woman's home, and they said, we'll send you the money. Can you send in a team to fix this lady's air conditioning? They're doing this with food, and they're like sending money to church, that I'll identify a church close to that person, and they're sending them the money to get groceries, pick up prescriptions, whatever, or be prayed for. So it's a phenomenal ministry. It's literally, in fact, the watchword there by the Open Door Tribe, the church has left the building, which is the way the church used to be. I talk about positively outrageous in their creativity of being, you still can be prayed for, you can be fed, you can get all the prescriptions.
Well, I have to tell you, the reason why I like the story and the reason why I think it really deserves a spotlight is there are so many places of worship that are really stepping up and using the mediums and the live streaming and things like that. I mean, we had drive-through confessionals, which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
so that deserves a spotlight in itself, is really getting out of the way that we've done business usually and serve the way we can serve. So I like that as a spotlight. But what I really love about your example is the fact that because that medium has opened up doors that are way past where we are. I mean, you're talking about other states that are calling in saying, I love the live stream, I have this need. But they've gone out of their way to reach out and not say, well, it's not in our area, I appreciate you. But to really go out of their way to say, in another state, here's your contact, let's get it done. And that extra step, that positively outrageous step, truly makes it out of proportion to the circumstances.
Totally, and it's, I think, also random and unexpected. I mean, I think some of these people were, I'm sure that lady in Pennsylvania was not expecting her air conditioning to be fixed by a church through the other church and so forth, things like that. So talk about crisis breeding creativity. They have really accelerated. In fact, they were on the national news a couple of weeks ago too. It was really awesome.
So to you, we give a positively outrageous service spotlight. Salute.
Or spotlight salute.
We have to get that down.
Yeah,
we have to make that needs to be tighter.
So you got another one, don't you, Michael?
I do. Well, yeah, I know you've gone business and organizations. I've gone kind of personal. I want to. I've also want to do a spotlight on the fun because since we've talked last, my daughter and I did a video in our kitchen that went viral, and
13 million. It was
13 million on the Facebook page,
right.
But it's like 30 million around the world, and it's opened up doors. We're viral in Ireland, Sweden, Ukraine, Australia. It's amazingly phenomenal. It's phenomenal. But one of the things that I want to bring, that it brought spotlight to me, that I want to bring up is we did it as a quarantine challenge. And the thing that I absolutely love is, like, we didn't create a viral video. It was just in response to bringing joy and light. And so the spotlight that I want to bring up is everybody who is doing the same thing. And the reason why I want to bring a spotlight to this is because sometimes we get hung up in the idea that our time is very dark, and we can let that kind of take over sometimes. I know I've talked with lots of friends that have really felt the anxiety sort of being debilitating. But the fact that you respond with light or with joy or with laughter or with some type of humor, you really have more of a ripple effect than you know. And that little experience that my daughter and I had, that big experience my daughter and I had, has really brought a focus to me and a reminder that even though there is darkness in our times, and there always has been, there's no such thing as darkness.
Yes.
Darkness is the absence
of light.
Yes. Absolutely. And so when you start to feel those things, just know that it's a call to be more light. And the encouragement and the spotlight is all those people and families that just put it out there. In fact, one of my favorite comments was somebody who responded to the Facebook page by saying, "Brave." He's talking about me. He goes, "Brave," which is exactly the point. So to be more light in this time of darkness. So don't be afraid to just put your joy out there, because you're going to have a ripple much farther than you know. And I do, to give a spotlight, and not to be self-serving on my daughter, I'll give a spotlight to your daughter.
One little thing though to that.
Sure.
Yeah. Because I think one of the things this highlights is the difference between happiness and joy. Mm-hmm. Happiness is very much dependent on our circumstances. We're happy when there's money in the bank and my job is going well, my marriage is going well, family, kids, all doing well. Happiness is very much dependent on our circumstances. But you use the key word, Michael, and that's joy. Mm-hmm. Joy transcends circumstances. We know the circumstances right now are horrible and terrible. People are out of work. Businesses are in... many businesses are not even going to survive, especially extroverts, they're going nuts right now, and with not being able to hug and social distancing and so forth.
I want to touch you so bad.
In a good way. But that happiness is dependent on our circumstances, but joy transcends circumstances. And what you brought joy to millions of people.
Well,
irrespective
I appreciate that.
of the circumstances.
And that really is the point, that my daughter is joy, just pure unadulterated joy. And it's really opened up my eyes. So I want to give spotlight to positively outrageous people that put their joy out on the internet, and a special focus to the Holderness family. The Holderness family is my new favorites. I can't get enough of these guys. They're on YouTube. You got to look them up. The Holderness family. We'll try to put a link down below. But they're the one I want to give a special focus to, because they are really taking this quarantine and just lighting it up with their creativity and their talent and their joy from their family. And I really appreciate them. So from our family to yours, I give a big, huge POS, Positively Outrageous Service Spotlight salute to you guys. Keep the fun and joy coming. I know, that's all right.
Well, I've got actually another one talking about hospitality. I know we had one example beforehand, but here's another one. There is a restaurant close to us. It's Hugos Invitados. It's a Mexican restaurant, like a Mexico City type, not a Tex-Mex type restaurant. A little bit more high end, and we've had some lovely dinners there. And actually, a number of the more sort of high end restaurants have shut down. They're not doing business at all, we noticed. But they came up with they got creative. So they have a more limited menu, and they're doing some really cool bowls and things. So it's an easier, it's not as expensive as their normal items, and they have made it fun. And remember, that fun is one of the 3 principles of positively outrageous service. And you can order online, or you can go up there, and when you drive up there, there is a VW, like this green and white VW van. You remember the old
the VW
buses, from the 60s or 70s. And actually the roof opens up, and there is a DJ there, and they got music playing, and there's actually a little square there, and people are like just congregating there now. Because it's
6
like,
feet away.
And there's a bunch of apartments there. So people are like, okay, I just got to get out of this apartment. You can only handle it so much. So they can go down to the little park. There's a DJ playing cool music. I mean, you can't stand still to it. You're going to move and jive to it. And they have great food at a good price. They've made it fun. And you can even have margaritas to go. I mean, that's like they've taken their concept and just flipped it, got creative. And I mean, it's actually a little bit out of proportion to the circumstances too, as well as a lot of fun. So remember, that's another one of those principles. So, Hugos Invitados, I think you deserve a positively outrageous service spotlight salute.
What else? I won't get it down. thing that I really want to bring up on that particular example is the fact that there's a lot of restaurants that they have to go to takeout because you can't come in the restaurant. Yeah. But I love the fact that they turned that whole experience on its ear. That's what's positively outrageous. That's what's out of proportion and random, is that they have taken the experience of takeout to a whole new level. And it's that creativity that we're giving spotlight to. I hope you're getting those from these examples.
So I've got another spotlight. And of course, this is a kind of a little bit more serious one. As we all know, the medical community has come under tremendous pressure in this environment, and of course they need supplies, and many of these supplies of personal protection equipment, PPE, was coming from China, and we had adequate supplies in many cases, 2 to 4 weeks, so long as the new supply keeps coming in. Well, what happened at the beginning of the year is, of course, China, that's where the virus emanated from, they cut off all the supply. They started keeping it for themselves. So all of a sudden there wasn't more coming in. We had enough so long as that supply would be given. So the whole supply chain,
a lot of disruption,
got disrupted, exactly. And a company by name of ASP Global, they are basically a healthcare distributor. They supply healthcare equipment and supplies. They saw that there was a need for a particular kind of mask, which I want to be accurate on. So this is a procedure mask, which is tremendously needed in the clinics and hospitals. And even though that wasn't their core business, I just love the creativity. Again, crisis breeds creativity. And they said, but we've got a lot of supply contacts and so forth. So they got hyper-focused. They basically pivoted their business and focused on this, put all their supply contacts on this thing. And there's also a lot of other things going on, and there's they call them shadow distributors, these suppliers who are taking advantage of the whole situation. No, they did this as a service. So they pivoted their business, got hyper-focused, and they were able to, within days, they were able to provide upwards of 5 million masks a week. And that number is going up each week. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And these are quality, because one of the concerns in hospitals, it's got to be a quality product.
As opposed to our self-made, handmade.
Yeah. But so I mean, I just love that. They went, it was really out of proportion to the circumstance. They didn't have to do that, but they chose to do that. They got creative. That crisis bred that creativity, and they're doing it literally as a service. Actually, I would call that positively outrageous service, and definitely out of proportion to the circumstances. It really fed into all three of the principles.
There are so many organizations that are doing similar things, that are revamping and stepping up. And so we really appreciate all those organizations, but we're giving a spotlight to ABS because truly what the ASP Global. Thank you so much for what you've done. And let that be an inspiration for a lot of organizations that need to step up and say, here's how we can help.
Yeah.
So ASP Global, we give you a positively outrageous service spotlight. Salute. I really want to drive home the idea of why we wanted to take a moment to do this, and because we want you to think about this. Positively outrageous service is not just a one-time thing. It's a way of thinking. It's a way of stepping up. And our phrase today, that crisis breeds creativity, is really at the foundation of all of our personal interactions that we do on a personal basis, on a business basis, on a family basis. There's a reason why your team does this under crisis. There's a reason why your family does this under crisis. There's a reason why your organization will do this under crisis. And it's not your pheromones. It's not the scent that you're giving off. You're doing things and you're saying things, hopefully on purpose, to have influence in the moment. Our principles, the 3 foundational principles to help us be positively outrageous service, are random and unexpected,
out of proportion to the circumstances,
and to have fun. And we hope that you've taken these examples and said, you know what about us? What are we doing? We appreciate everybody's creativity during this time of crisis, and we want to give spotlight to it. If you know an example that you want to give spotlight to, give us a comment. Send us a note, because we'll want to bring a specific focus. All of these people we're going to reach out to and give a little special thank you from us at Positively Outrageous Service, and we hope that you do too in your particular area.
So from
Andrew and I,
so our emails, by the way, are Andrew or Michael at positivelyoutrageousservice.com. So please, we want to hear more about these stories. We're going to do these spotlights for the next few weeks. So send us that. We would love to give them a salute.
Yeah, absolutely.
A spotlight and a salute.
And here's from us to you, from our family to yours, saying, continue to be positively outrageous. We'll see y'all soon. That's a lot of spotlights. There's so many people.
Yeah.
This is my handmade. My wife actually put a little hole in there to put a little coffee filter. Yeah. A little something we can clean. Very nice. Into the fray. Take it
But I can't
Perel.
drink.
Nice. Good job, guys.